Hey everybody, welcome back to the collective. I'm coming in hot. Hold on a second. I think I lost your audio, Sean. Can you say something real quick?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
buddy.
there
I
we
can
go.
say all
Okay,
kinds
okay.
of things. That's
Whew,
why I'm here.
I thought I had messed it up completely. It's been an interesting morning to say the least. I'm looking
Good.
forward to what we're going to talk about too. We got a pretty sweet guest coming on here who should be here shortly.
Momentarily.
Yeah. First question I have for you
Oh,
is,
don't even.
what are you up to?
Don't even hit me with a question. Usually when you were the kinder, more gentle Chance Burrows, here's how you used to start. Before we jump into anything, do you have any thoughts on before we jump into it? You used to care.
I did.
You used to care.
Do you have any thoughts? Hey, Glad, how's it going?
Hey,
Good. How are you
buddy.
guys doing?
How you making
Good, man.
out?
Good. Hopefully,
Good.
let me see. Sorry, I thought I had these plugged in.
Oh,
Morning,
they're
Chris.
plugged in. Right into your
Yeah.
ear holes.
Right into the
Alright.
ear holes, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah,
No.
sounds good. Both sound okay. I mean, one's a little echoey,
Sounds
but
fantastic.
yeah. So Sean, do you
So
have any
yeah,
thoughts?
I was.
Anything burning on the top of your head that you want to
Oh,
talk about?
thanks for asking,
Hey,
pal.
man, no
That's
problem.
yeah, thanks, buddy. Uh, here's all I wanted to say, and I don't want to derail our conversation, whatever we're going to be talking about, because I'm sure you've got some great questions lined up. But here's the deal. Last night I watched the Sean Ryan podcast with Dallas Alexander on it, and all I can say is this: go watch it.
Okay.
That's it. That's all. To anyone who's going to be listening to this today, maybe finish listening to this and then immediately go over to the Sean Ryan podcast and go listen to that as well. Because straight up, it's amazing information, and like there's some really powerful thoughts coming from Dallas, and it's one of the more not enjoyable, but it's one of the Sean Ryan podcasts that I could sit down and comfortably enjoy, I would say.
Nice.
You're
the second.
Pardon me?
Did you see it yet, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
I can't say it any better than the way you said it. Just go watch it. Do yourself a favor. Watch it. Listen to it. Whichever way you can get that information in, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, baby.
You're the second person that has said to me, Sean. You're Glenn now. The third person has said to me that I need to go watch it, so I'm gonna go watch it. I have it lined up in my. It's sitting in my podcast queue, and so yeah, I just finished Jocko's 369, so maybe I'll jump over there. Or maybe I'll do 370 first and then jump over there.
No, I'd say go check this one out ASAP.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
I still have to finish the one that you guys did a couple weeks ago, or no, last week. I think Seb was on it, and it was. 10 minutes into it, it was a great conversation, and then I just had to get into work.
Yeah. There's been some solid ones. You know what? By the way, speaking of solid, I thought yesterday's was freaking fantastic, man, with Julie Kelly. Dude, I'm a coach, and as I was listening to us talking about coaching, I was thinking like, oh, I hope someone else is learning as much as I am right now as we're talking about this stuff. Because if you're a coach, you should be going to check that out.
I think even outside of being a coach, like being in a leadership role in general, because there's so much nuance to that you never really discover until you start being in a leadership position.
Yeah, for a long time, by the way, not just like a month.
Yeah,
if it's your first time in a leadership position, you'll learn things. But if you've been in a leadership position for a while, or you've been coach / leading for a while, there's some pretty solid stuff in there.
I agree. I had a blast. I've already got an idea of who I'm going to link up with Julie again to have her back on with somebody else.
Fantastic.
I was just talking to my massage therapist. I'm going to try and get her on as well. She's worked with many Olympians and veterans, and she knows a good crew of people. I'm not going to start name dropping because I don't know for sure, but just so you know, I'm just giving you the heads up. Be aware there may be some more cool people coming on the show. Just saying. There may be.
As long as we don't, at some point. We need more Fonzies, not more Potsies.
All right, I'm good with that. So Glenn, man, what are you up to? How's things? You haven't had you on for a while, so
you know what? Work has been. It's been awesome. Yeah. I actually thought about you guys because this week was a huge learning curve, and man, the fun, just basic mistakes I was kind of making, and you guys, the collective has spoken about a lot about mantras and what to do when things aren't going well, or what's your mindset. And my mindset this week was really push hard when things weren't going really well. And it was I've posted a couple of times, I asked for Shaun's permission.
You don't need my permission.
I asked, this is funny, man. I messaged Shaun like, hey man, are you cool if I write the words deeds, not words, or fact and non-verbal in my locker, or if I mention it, or if I have like a USA Canada First Special Service Force patch on my if I buy it, are you cool with it? And Shaun was just like, dude, go.
So cool with it.
Yeah, and anyways, to make a long story long, it was when things aren't going well, and to kind of stay grounded and to keep my own personal mantra of deeds not words within that realm was I did it for sure, because the end of the week everything was back to where it should have been, but for about 48 hours it was kind of down in the dumps. But I remember having the feeling of just providing a verbal diarrhea. Hey, I'm going to make this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Especially when you're kind of like not performing, you want to just get out and just say stuff. Just say stuff. Just put stuff out in the ether, and hopefully something sticks. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti at a wall, and hopefully it sticks.
Now my words are action.
Yeah, and we all know how much that's worth.
Yep. Well, yeah, absolutely nothing.
So that was a couple of days, and it was, I kind of just I didn't go into a shell. Kind of took my lumps. Yes, owned it, and kept things simple and ended on a good note.
Nice.
So that was kind of
it's good to suck a bit throughout the week. I think it's good to suck from time to time. I mean, it helps. I mean, you got to know your left and right of arc. You can't be awesome all the time. You got to suck sometimes and understand what awesome means,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking that your idea, if you're awesome all the time, then you're never really awesome, because that's just normal.
For sure.
Right.
So contextualize.
You gotta hit points where you're like, oh man, that did not go the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
But now I'm okay. Like, okay, I understand where I went wrong there.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that, Shaun, before we jump into the conversation?
No, I'm just glad to see Glenn's doing well.
Yeah, man.
Check.
Man. Good to have you back on, man. Awesome.
Oh, I was like, it's so funny, man, because I really dig being on here and kind of hanging out with you guys and listening to you guys. And the week, how without getting the details, just BC is just extremely busy right now, and it's like man, I miss talking to my homies, man.
I know that feeling. I do know that feeling. Although now I get to talk to my homie every day.
Yes, man, it's good.
That's right.
All kinds of homies talking on the daily. I dig it. It's fun. It's important, actually. It's more important than it is fun, but it's still fun. So that's important as well.
Well, let me I'm going to go complete tangent here.
Sure.
Why is it important?
I think in order for something to really stick, you've got to figure out how to gamify it. And I know I've been saying gamify life for quite some time now. Some people have picked up on the term. Just gamify it, bro. And I don't mean turn it into Donkey Kong gamify. I mean, like, find a way to make hard things fun. And there's a ton of ways that you can do that. I mean, just put on your imagination hat, spend 2 minutes thinking about how to turn suck into fun. There's always a way. But it's not just the suck, it's turning the awesome into the game. It's turning the monotony into a game. Everything in everything in your day can be gamified. Funnily enough, so we'd mentioned briefly there Dallas Alexander in the podcast on the Shaun Ryan show, and something that he talked about when he entered into the teams, when he first stepped into JTF2. Of course, he talked about the various phases in order to get there and how it was difficult and yada, yada, yada. But then when he went on probation and he got into, I think he was 2 Squadron, he'd said, and he wasn't a sniper. He was just a basic assaulter at this point, entering into the teams as, we'll call it, probationary, and how the level of the CQB, how the level of excellence was about 3 times more than he was currently capable at that time. He just, you have to go watch it, but I'm not going to put words into his mouth. All he said was this: man, they just move at an entirely different level. It is so much faster. They're processing so much bandwidth. What they're doing is way harder than I thought it was, even after I got badged. And so, that's the idea of chasing excellence or doing your best and all of that good stuff. Is the only way that you can kind of figure out how to do things better is to start doing better. And as you're doing better, you've also got to look around you and figure out who else is doing it way better than my better. And, that's kind of JTF2, man. Like, once you get onto the teams, yeah, you might be pretty good, but everyone around you is better. And it's a hellaciously competitive environment. I mean, you got to compete within yourself. I'm super competitive with me. Mm-hmm. But if someone wants to, to my left and right, if they even look at me wrong and think, bro, it's on. Oh yeah, it's on. Because that's how we're wired. It's a highly competitive environment where you can never settle ever at any moment on anything. It's always further pursuit. I mean, Glenn, did you pick up on that? Is that kind of what you took away from it? Or, I mean, there's many things that you can take away from the podcast, but literally, I almost paraphrased what he said, and I fully support that idea.
There's just, he would say something that was not necessarily thought-provoking, but just something that you just try to get your head wrapped around, and then he'd go into something else, and then I'm just getting my head wrapped around that one, and then the next point, I'm gonna have to go back to it again.
Yeah, I might have to watch it twice.
Yeah, I think what you said was bang on, and Chance, I don't want to spoil this for you.
Yeah, agreed.
But he talked about doing push-ups.
Yeah.
And he's like, if your max is 100, great.
I think he said 200, no?
Yeah, 200. Now they'll get you to 202.
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah.
It's something along those lines. Is like, it doesn't matter like how, like he talked about some of the fittest dudes just crushing PT, come back in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like, what did
2 days and they're bounced.
And it's at that point I was kind of thinking about, wow, there is a standard, but I guess they make it almost individualistic in a way where they'll kind of look at you, great, you did 100, now do 102. Now you did 200, now do 202. And the other guy, his max might be 50. Well, it won't be 50, it'll be in the hundreds. Like, you've got 150, go to 152. Mm-hmm. And it's just that constant challenge relative to the person in the direction of growing the whole team together, which is what I got from it, which seems like what sets that team apart from other ones that you've heard about from different countries.
Yeah. Shaun, you and I were talking about this in the green room one day, and we were talking about, some of the differences and some of the benefits of dealing with, veterans and people that are used to, when there's a job to be done, everyone, okay, let's get to work. What do you need done? Blah, blah, blah. And you start delegating, you start doing these things. You're like, okay, we're going to blah, 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 blah. And you told me a story of like, when you got to the hill and you started directing people, everybody there was already a badass.
Oh yeah.
Right. And like, that's the base level standard. So if you think you're hardcore and you're like, yeah, I'm awesome, I'm going to go to the hill and I'm going to be the best guy, like you're not even close.
Yeah. Yeah. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
your first Yeah, it's embarrassing how little you know, even though you're supposed to know a lot. It's just the way it is, man. I mean, I'm not tired of saying it, but I say it a lot. There's levels to the game.
Yeah.
And you just simply can't understand what that sentence means unless you've gone several layers deep. It's a thing, man.
Well, and it's actually quite, you have a very visible, I don't think people look at this enough, actually. I just realized how obvious there are to levels of the game, right? Look at the army, just in the army itself, right? You're infantry, great. What's the next level up, right? Then you go Pathfinder, Pioneer, Sniper, whatever, right? What's the next level above that? What's the next level above that? And in order to get to any of those things, you have to pass through 4, 5, 6, 7 checkpoints along the way. And then the next path, and you have 4, 5, 6, 7 checkpoints along the way, and then the next path, and then the next path, and then the next path. And there's like levels, absolutely levels to the game. If you're in the infantry and you were in Afghanistan and you did 2, 4, 5, 7 tours, that's one level to the game. But then there's another level of the game above that.
Yeah,
always. and there's, doesn't matter what you're doing, there's always that next rung, that next achievement, that next area.
And the only way that you're going to learn that, the only way that you're going to understand that is if you're a pursuer.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you ain't interested in what's on the horizon, go find another passion. Go find something else that you want to crush. It might be like, I don't know, being the best ... but it ain't going to be the best JTF2 operator. I mean, you've got to relentlessly pursue something that you can never understand that is just called excellence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beyond the horizon. It's somewhere out of sight, but you just got to keep heading towards the horizon, hoping that you can get a glimpse of it. Yeah. You just got to be a relentless pursuer of excellence, man.
So I was having this conversation again with my massage therapist earlier, but we were talking about this, is that no one is special. Even in those special environments, even at the top echelon of whatever it is, we're all still people. And all things are possible, in which case any one of us could be that legend, could be that champion, could be the best tier 1 operator to have ever graced tier 1. There's only ever going to be one, right? And that one person is going to have to fight to be that one person up until the next person comes along. And that person is then going to have to fight to be that one person. But they all still started as regular people. Any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's
the way of life.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even to do with special operations. You want to be the CEO of the day. You want to be the superhero you want to be a captain of industry. Guess what? You better be super special. And that doesn't mean that you look good in front of a camera. That means that you're like amazing. And so you want to be a captain of any industry. Well, you don't just roll off and brush off the Dorito crumbs and next day you're running like the mega corporation.
Yep.
It's a process, man, and it's a process that doesn't just fall into your lap. You've got to go earn the day. You've got to, when you wake up in the morning, you got to make that day your day. And then when you go to bed, repeat. And so that's just the way it is. Anybody who is quote unquote a captain of industry, in whatever industry that is, we'll call it, Ford Motors, whoever the CEO of the day is right now. The only way that guy's getting my respect is if he's freaking crushing it on the daily. And if he's not, I don't care what his title is. He's just some other goof who's wasting my time. So it doesn't matter what his title is. You're either in or you're out. You're all in or you're all out. If you're hanging out in the middle ground, you ain't a captain of the industry, man. You're just taking up a spot.
Not even a lieutenant. Glenn, any thoughts on this?
Oh man, my thoughts were kind of going at a couple of different places. I was just
welcome to the tangent show.
Oh God! For some reason this came up because I've heard it this week. Fake it till you make it, and I don't really know how I feel about that. And that's kind of what. Not that Shaun's faking it. Just what he was talking about has a bunch of good points, and when you're going from one level to the next one, and there's always a transition period. I think, at least my experience from switching, going from one level to the next, there was kind of I guess an integrity gap a little bit where my confidence of executing at this level wasn't high, but I know I could. And at that point, some advice given was, hey, fake it till you make it. And then immediately I went to, well, that seems kind of empty. That kind of seems like, the opposite, words not deeds at that point. So I don't really know. I actually have more questions than anything. So I'll throw it back to you guys. I don't really know.
Fake it till you make it, Shaun.
Well, I've commented on this in the past, just briefly, because and I don't even remember when. I think it might have been in a live chat with someone, but it's some time ago, and someone brought up the subject of fake it till you make it. And here's what that always meant to me. I'd never thought of it in any other way than how I'm going to describe it. But then, not that I got any pushback from it, but someone then re-explained it to me several different ways, or several people re-explained it several different ways. And I thought, oh yeah, I suppose that's a way to look at it, but that's not how I've ever looked at it. Here's how I always looked at it. Fake it till you make it means that you're a faker, man. Like you're every day you're faking it. And if you ever make it, you never made it because you're still fake. Yeah. And so fake it till you make it is a negative connotation in my world, in my head. Fake it till you make it is just fake. But doing your best and maybe making it, that's the sentence that I can wrap my head around. I don't care if you ever make it, whatever make it means to you, the outcome that you're seeking, whatever that is, it doesn't matter to me. Every day you got to be trying to make it towards your outcome. Now that's you earning your way every day. Faking ain't earning. Hard work is earning. So hard work your day in order to head towards what you're looking for, and that's a successful outcome. Sure. If 40 years of adult work, if after 40 years of hard grind, I was standing here thinking, but bro, you're a total faker. Holy, that'd be a hard place to live in my head. I just don't think that way.
I have an interesting thought on this, and it's interesting that you bring this up, Glenn, because I had just heard this at the jiu-jitsu instructor course that I was just on, and they were talking about it as well as fake it till you make it. But I took a different insight onto it than you took, Shaun. Was that it's in a similar vein of dress for the job you want. If I wanted to be CEO of Ford Motor Company, right? I have to envision myself as the CEO of Ford Motor Company. And then I have to think to myself, how does that person work? How did that person get there? What is it that they did that made them successful to get to that point? Okay, now I'm going to act in that way. I'm going to use the progression that has been given to me before. Even though I am not CEO of Ford Motor Company, I'm going to act in the same manner that he would. Not the personal manner, but the physical acts that person does every day, right? And we do this when we read books like Tools for the Titans. That comes out and it's like, these are the same 10 questions they ask a whole bunch of people, and you get very similar answers in how they act every day. And I think the concept of fake it till you make it is along that line. I believe that was what the intention of that concept is to look at what you want and then act that way in order to get what you want.
So if I can rephrase it for you, then what you're suggesting is this: do your best to become what you want to become. I mean, is that what you're saying?
It is exactly what I'm saying.
Way it's different almost like than fake it till you make it. Maybe I'm off base there.
I think it comes down to the interpretation of it.
So redefine your interpretation, because I heard two completely different things there.
How so?
So you were talking about fake it till you make it. Now you're pretending to be the CEO of Ford by faking your way through it. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm saying that because you're not the CEO, you can't.
Let's just pretend that you're Chance Burles. How about that?
Let's
now you're going to pretend to be the CEO of Ford.
Okay, I would look at it.
Now you're faking it.
Okay.
So now explain it to me, please.
So now I'm faking it. I'm doing the things that I see the successful position that I want.
So you're pretending to understand that you know how to run a massive mega corporation.
And by doing that, I gain insight as to what is required in order to do that.
At the risk of an entire mega corporation.
But I'm not that person.
While you're learning and pretending.
But that's the thing, is I'm not the person. So I can only fake act that way, in which, and I'm talking more along the lines of the overall actions, not so much the day-to-day, like what it takes to run the corporation. I mean, like, how does that person act?
Okay, let me ask you this straight up question. This will simplify things. Let's pretend for a moment, starting right now, you're now the CEO of Ford. Mm-hmm. How do you think that corporation would look in a week?
In a week, I think
maybe 1 million people laid off.
Maybe.
I'll tell you this, it wouldn't be a more successful company.
Definitely would not be more successful.
And that's my point.
Okay.
So, if you want to fake your way towards being something, whatever it is, while you're faking it, there's collateral damage.
But what if you're not the CEO? What if you're on the ground, you're working in the assembly line, and you want to be CEO at some point? So you start thinking as like, oh, well, I need to be a manager in order to do that. I need to get into the executive level in order to do that. So you start looking at, what does my manager do? How does he act? How does he then, how does he treat the people around him? And you start to look at and break down the actions of the people you want to aspire to.
Also called earning your way, right?
True.
Which is a big difference. Earn it or fake it.
True. Yeah. But I think the concept of faking it isn't so much that you're just surface level.
Now, this is your interpretation.
This is my interpretation. Yeah.
And I think this is where we're going sideways, is because the three of us are probably thinking like, oh, fake it till you make it means every single day you work really hard, and through experience you earn your way towards making it.
Yeah.
And somehow we then take that entire sentence and replace it with fake it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But strip out fake it, and all we were saying was this, dude, every single day you earn your spot through hard work, and over a pile of failures and experience and wisdom. Eventually you can start earning your way towards becoming the CEO of Ford, which is radically different than the replacement words of fake it till you make it. And that's where I think things go sideways, because everyone then relies on this fake it till you make it, bro. And they've somehow taken the fake it and distorted it from the words that should have been there, which is earn it.
I think you're absolutely right in terms of we are interpreting it at a deeper level. And if someone doesn't want to, because we
understand what it means to become awesome.
Yeah. And if you
I don't play that stupid word game of everyone believing that you can fake it till you make it.
You know what I think, this is gonna make me sound like a goof, but who cares, right?
It's only the world. It's only the entire world, the internet.
Who cares? I think fake it till you make it is used quite a bit, or popular, because it almost feels like it's easier to do than earn it. Because like anyone can fake it, but not anyone can earn it. Even though I think everyone can. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shaun. You got a point?
It's the fake it till you make it phrase is so fake nowadays that no one pushes back on how fake it is because it's just become super fake. The idea being that everyone gets real comfortable with, bro, just pretend that you're the CEO of Ford. Magically, you're now the CEO. Harry Potter wand, Shazam. But that's not how life works. You ain't the CEO. You're actually the guy who just got hired yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're scrubbing the toilets. And you can fake it all you want as you're scrubbing toilets in your head that you're going to be CEO next week, but you ain't. Here's the harsh reality. You're going to be scrubbing toilets for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're scrubbing toilets, this is what you get to decide. Am I going to earn my way by at night taking some night school classes? Am I going to be doing homework to better myself? Am I going to be going to the gym so that I can become bigger, better, faster, stronger, so that I can work harder in my shift? I can be more efficient, more effective. I can now interact or communicate with people at work as I'm scrubbing a toilet. They start recognizing that I've got maybe some potential. Now I'm earning my way to making it by earning my way every day in my little isolated world. Next thing you know, someone taps me on the shoulder and says, dude, stop scrubbing toilets. You've actually got a head on your shoulders. Come on over. What do you think about this problem? Now you're moving boxes. Mm-hmm. And then boxes turns into now you're moving something in the office cubicles. And next thing you know, now you've got an office cubicle. Next thing you know, now you're earning your way, not faking your way. Anyone who's ever scrubbed toilets, and I have, anyone who's scrubbed toilets for a while should be able to say this to you. There's no faking it when you're scrubbing toilets, man. No. It sucks. Yeah. And every day you're earning. Yep. Earning is a weird word because some people who've been faking it for a long time think that faking it is earning it. Dude, mm-hmm. There's no faking when you're scrubbing toilets.
You're 100% right. I was both of you guys are right in this. I was going to reiterate this in that those that look for nuance will find nuance in anything. But those who don't look for nuance are going to take it at surface value, at face value. So when somebody says fake it till you make it, or take it as face value, be like, okay, cool, I'll fake it. And then expect to make it after that, versus looking for the nuance in it as, people who have been through the ringer or have been, worked to be awesome. We then look for the nuance in the instead of looking at the face value of it. And I think it's right. We should be pushing back against that because the face value doesn't do anyone service. It's a
no, it doesn't.
Tagline that people can rally around and be like, yeah, make it till you make it, you're all good, right? Versus seeing the nuance in it, versus developing the language to be able to actually get people to hear what that means rather than accept what is being given.
Well, that's why I push back, because I'm not comfortable in just simply accepting the counterproductive statement of fake it till you make it. Now I'm responsible for enabling someone to believe that they don't have to do anything in life. They've just got to pretend, and Shaun, somehow it'll all magically work out.
I think you're also responsible for creating a new hashtag.
Which one? I've created several. Some of them are distasteful.
I think you have to add in earn it till you make it now.
Earn it till you make it is true. Yeah, I think that's the way in life.
I think just earn it. I think that really just sums it up, right? Because if you earn it, you made it. Just
boys, think about it. I mean, straight up, take a moment. I'm going to hit you with a question, and it should be pretty easy to understand.
Mm-hmm. Oh God!
Think back in your past and think about the first really proud moment that comes to mind. I'm not going to ask you what it is. The moment that you had great pride, let's say in the last 10 years, whatever that is that immediately comes to mind. Whatever it is that came to mind, I can freaking guarantee you that moment wasn't handed to you on a silver platter. Because silver platter moments don't even hit the radar. They're you'll never remember them 20 years from now because they don't count. Anything that's given doesn't have value. Anything that's hard earned has more value than the time that you put into it. the harder it is to earn, the more valuable it is. The more impossible it is to execute against, if you manage to somehow execute against the impossible, you'll never forget those moments. The things that are mindlessly forgotten are the things that had no cost.
Mm-hmm. That is a very good point. I do like that. And you're absolutely right. Anything that you said, what are you proud of? The little ticks in my head are all like, there's this and there's that and there's these things, but all of them were months,
they all required
worth of work,
blood,
like just sweat
or tears.
Yeah, exactly.
On that point, I listened to, I think it was Huberman talking about just overall health, and he mentioned that a current issue with what humans are doing right now is that we're having food in front of the TV. So you're getting a reward for a very superficial stimulus.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of interesting. And hey, right here, Agent Zero, I've definitely eaten in front of the TV, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I made, me and the missus, we made a kind of a huge effort to just purely eat at the dinner table, like just me, her, and the cat. And it felt different.
Yeah.
And that what Shaun was talking about and what you're talking about too, Chance, kind of reminded me of that small thing that happens or that we do every day. That's kind of along the same lines of getting a reward for nothing, just sitting there in front of the TV.
Well, if you would have, it's a great example that you use, pal, because even though it's a micro adjustment or a minutia adjustment, in the sense of, some of the really big accomplishments that you've made, just simply making that minor recalibration of in front of the TV or not in front of the TV, that is earning. The simple act of recalibrating your mindset as to what's important and what isn't. Earning your way doesn't mean it's all about the burpees.
Yeah.
Earning your way doesn't mean instead of scrubbing 50 toilets that day, you scrub 100 toilets. That's kind of earning, but you can earn every day in so many different ways. And a mindset shift, that's earning it, baby.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this, and that I grew up, we never ate at the table. Never once. We were all over the place. We'd be on the couch. We'd be over here. Rarely did we sit down and actually eat together. And then, when Amber and I were first dating, we would eat together, and we would eat in front of the TV quite regularly. Once we started having kids, though, it was like, do we really want to be eating in front of the TV? Like, we should have the kids sitting at the table. Okay, well, let's all sit at the table. And we started sitting at the table. And now it's actually out of habit. Even when I'm by myself, I will go sit at the table. I won't even watch TV. I'll just be sitting at the table. I'll be eating. And I'll be like, oh, okay. And absolutely, those habits can shift to a point where I could very easily be sitting in front of the TV, feeding my face, right? Blah. But I'm not. Because I now, just without even thinking about it, it became muscle memory, it became the habit. I wake up and I make my bed now. I never used to, right? All those little habits start to add up, and they start to become things that you can step on.
Yeah, you're earning,
and
baby.
And you work, exactly, you're earning. I love it. This is good. I had a whole bunch of things that we were going to talk about, but this is by far, I think, superior to anything I was going to talk about earlier.
Sorry, buddy.
No, man, this is great. This is why we have these conversations.
That's why we hang out.
I think it's great. Here's the question then. How do we get through the surface layer? What is it we need to, obviously we can lead by example. We can be the change we want to see. But if we want to take it to another level, if we want to spread this around to the people we know, what are some of the actions do you think we can take to develop the idea of getting other people to want to earn it?
just do deeds.
Yeah.
And whoever needs to see it will see it. And whoever ain't ready to see it yet won't see it. And hopefully through your deeds, someone will pick up on the fact that you can do better. Because look at that dude over there crushing it. And so I don't think everyone out there who is, large and in charge, or anyone out there who's like crushing it from the leading the way at the front of the charge. I don't see a bunch of those people that I consider to be getting after it. They're not like constant flag wavers, man. They're not shooting fireworks up every minute of the day to say, "Look at me go, follow me because I'm Radmaster 9000." These are just people who are out there doing work, hard work, crushing it, inspiring work, good leadership, good this, good that, good other things. And so I wouldn't want to hear it every day from some dude that I really respect about what he's doing that day that I should respect him for. I don't need him to explain to me why he's awesome, because I already know that he is, because I'm following him. I just don't need to hear it every day. I just need to see him in action and know that he's awesome. And so I think it all comes down to deeds. Way less talking and way more doing.
Great point. Glenn, any thoughts?
No, I think that's pretty bang on. I mean, personally, I think what you guys have started is a huge thing. Just having this conversation and being genuine and real about it. I think the conversation that you guys are having, it's worth its weight in gold. Like I personally, when I don't listen to you guys, it's not like I have a bad day or I'm crying or whatever. But it's just nice to hear a good conversation.
Yeah, agreed.
It's I don't know what it is. Like I sometimes I feel actually that there's not a lot of conversations happening these days.
There's a lot of talk.
I feel the same way, man.
Yeah,
I really do.
When it's you guys collective and everyone you guys have on, like, is pretty. They're all just studs, and how you guys approach it and your tone and the questions brought up and the time given. It's like a virtual campfire conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is pretty awesome.
That was the whole goal.
Yeah. Well, hang on a sec. So
not the whole goal. Part of the goal.
We didn't have a goal. I say we didn't have a goal, and I'm going to simplify it by saying this. On January 1, when we went live with this initiative, we tried to have no goal other than the goal was, loosely termed, be helpful, serve.
Yep.
These kind of broad ideas of how to help if we could. And as Chance and I discussed, I think when it was bubbling up in my little peanut and I said, "Hey, you got to do something." I didn't know what this looked like. Chance didn't know what this looked like. These were just random ideas that it was a moment of creativity and then a bit of a push.
A little bit more than a bit.
A little bit more than a nudge.
There were a couple shoves.
There was some hard shoves. Through a moment of creativity and some hard work behind the scenes, on January 1st, this showed up as a blank slate. And so these kind of conversations that we're having right now, this was formed over each day that we had conversations with people and started to realize that I don't want to say, it took weeks and weeks to realize this. It became apparent rapidly to me that people just wanted to talk at a more meat and potatoes level. And it wasn't going to be about how many magazines you carried on your chest plate, because they're immaterial to the stories that are relevant to not just veterans or Leos or what have you. They're stories that are relevant to every human being, because when you strip out the stories about chest plate carriers and whatnot. Now we could be talking about a housewife in Manitoba.
Yeah.
And so these meat and potato commonalities from every single human across Canada, we'll say, that's kind of what I really appreciate about what's going on over here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing in that, you know, it's a struggle to not compare yourself to other people that you see, and to eventually learn that, you know, you can't compare yourself to anyone else. You have to compare yourself to who you were yesterday. It's a step that you have to eventually take. And the one thing I see kind of consistently of people who don't do things is that they go, oh, well, I'm not that person. Oh, well, I can't do that. Like they look at the pinnacle of whatever they're, you know, they'll watch David Goggins or they'll see an Olympic swimmer and they'll be like, oh, I'll never be him. Well, of course you're not. You got to be you. You got to be the best you can be, which takes work, and you have to put the effort in. You have to do you have to do all the things to make. You have to kick off the Dorito bag slippers, right? You got to brush the crumbs off your shirt. That's the beginning, and then all of the other stuff starts to flow in once you actually open yourself up to the possibility that you can be better. And which is why I think I love these conversations, is that, as you said, Shaun, there's none of that superficial stuff in the way. It's not, that's, again, I've said it a couple times, why I don't do intros, is that it really doesn't matter the person's history while they're here for the conversation. What the important part of the conversation is to have the conversation. And we've all sat around a fire or a pub or a table and watch and like been part of a conversation without actually having to engage in that conversation. Right? I've sat around tables with 4 or 5 friends and like just listened to everybody talking. And that has been enlightening. I don't have to I don't have to voice something to be part of that conversation. And I think that's what, you know, this has kind of turned into, is that it's a continual, everyday, open conversation that anybody can just step in and be like, oh, that's fascinating. Oh, interesting. And then move on to the next day or learn a piece and then still it.
There's people DMing me that folks who are listening to this wouldn't know that I'm being DM'd on this subject. And it is, they are listening to these kind of conversations on the drive to work or back home, and we'll never know that they're doing that if not for the fact that they DM me on occasion, say, dude, that was a really great one that I listened to on my way back home. And I'm like, what? There's people actually listening to this as they're cruising around. I think that's cool that they're doing it, but it's important for at least me to know. And I think it's important for anyone who shows up onto this kind of a format, that our responsibility is to be aware that there's people that we don't know and may never know that are being influenced by these chats. They just, it's not even, I feel for some of them that they are actively trying to learn so much about how to be a this, that, or the other thing. They just want to be around cool people who aren't irritating, you know. They just they just want to chillax as they're driving home after a hard work period, and they just kind of want to decompress a little bit, hear it, you know, not kind voices but familiar voices who aren't hating on everything around them. They just want to get a bit of positivity and deep thought before you know, they have to go cook the meal of the day.
You know, I've always really enjoyed watching documentaries, and it's actually for that reason, is that you just get to sit and learn something. It's not like shoved down your throat. It's not, oh my goodness, the world is all, you know, fire and brimstone and everything's going wrong. It's just like, hey, you want to learn about physics? Sure. Like, let's hear about infinity. Okay, this is neat. And like, I can just sit and I don't have to be, you know, a world-renowned theoretical physicist to understand any of this information. It's just a little bit extra information in a field that I don't know about. I'm like, okay, cool, good information.
Yeah, well,
and then
I'm not that either, but I can tell you the book that I'm reading right now, I'm halfway through it. It's just about 30 feet over there, is Richard Feynman's book on I mean, if everyone should know that dude's like physics.
Yeah.
And so I'm reading that, and I took a photo and put it up on my Instagram stories just yesterday. And why did I do that? It's not because I want everyone to know that I don't understand Richard Feynman. I'm putting that up to hopefully inspire someone to pick up a book that isn't all about Mac Bolan or all about Tom Clancy or all about, dagger in the teeth jumping out of planes in the pitch black. You know what else is going on in the world? Other stuff.
Yeah.
Other cool stuff that you can learn from and become a better person. And it might be called physics.
Yeah.
A la Richard Feynman. So, what our responsibilities are, I guess, is if we're trying to inspire people or shine a light on better ways to do things. I mean, we got to do it. We can't just talk about it. I can't talk about reading that book. I've got to read that book and demonstrate that that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. This is actually an interesting comment. Winterstorm 427, thanks for bringing the heat again. Once again, exposure to new ideas is sometimes more valuable than mastery of a concept. I don't think those two things are, I can't think of the word right now, but you can have both, right? You can work towards the mastery of a concept and be exposed to new ideas. And that way, both are valuable.
I think maybe what he or she is saying is the mastery of that entire sentence is the awareness that mastery is the pursuit of mastery in all things. And so, I've lawn bowled a few times. I'm not proud of it.
Well, it's fun.
But I've done some lawn bowling,
and
I kind of like it. But I mean, if I wanted to be a master of that, I wouldn't have to reframe my life to become a master at lawn bowling. I mean, the moment that I pick up a lawn bowl and hold it in my hand, I'm looking to my left and right. Who am I competing against? And just before I roll that ball across the green, I'm giving it my maximum effort best because I'm going to master the moment, whatever that means to me. And through a process, eventually I might become a good lawn bowler. But the idea of becoming a world champion lawn bowler isn't really in my head. But in the moment that I'm rolling that ball, that's what I'm pursuing. And so any new idea, to Winterstorm's point, any new idea for me, the moment that I'm standing on the precipice of the new idea, looking down into the rabbit hole, I'm always evaluating how much I want to master it.
That's a great point. Any thoughts on that, Glenn?
Oh, man. Yeah. I wrote this book.
Nice.
I can't get past the first 2 chapters because every day I can go back to those first 2 chapters and break down every single thing that I'm doing, learning in a new environment applies.
And building the elite book is classic, man.
Yeah. It's like I can't, each little heading, I can go back or go to whatever I did today and make that adjustment. And then the next day I'll look at it again. I'm like, well, I guess I can't get past this chapter because I'm making the still, minute adjustments. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, this is the thing is that you can always fine tune it a little bit better. It can always be adjusted just a little bit more, and you can always there is a point. I don't know. Is there a point, Shaun, where you get to like the razor's edge and go, this is the limit of my capability? Or
no, is not for me.
No.
And you know what is limit of capability or limit of abilities, I suppose? I don't know. I'm still looking for them. I mean, I know I can't do 1 million push-ups right now.
Maybe
when I was 30. But, I think that obviously we've all got physical limitations, mental limitations, emotional limitations for sure. But that doesn't mean that that's going to stop me from trying to crack through them. And so I think that's the mastery concept for me in life is, I understand that I can't levitate. But if someone says, hey, Shaun, do you want to compete against me at levitation? it's freaking game on.
It's on.
and so if the dude standing next to me is saying, yeah, I think I almost got half an inch off the floor, I'm shooting for an inch.
Yeah.
I'm going to half inch that dude all day long because that's what I was taught to do. And so it's not about trying to beat him. It's about understanding that, oh, it's maybe possible. Well, I'm going to make it mine. And so, what is mastery? What is levitation? What am I capable of? I don't know any of those answers, but I do know that I've relentlessly pursued betterment.
Mhm.
So,
it's kind of funny. I say this to my kids. I'm going to tell you in a second. Winterstorm says, agreed, Shaun. More to the point, don't be afraid of not being the immediate expert and never start. Absolutely. You never know what you will be good at until you're exposed to it. 100%. One of the points that I say to my boys when they get frustrated and they go, it's hard or it's impossible, I can't do it. And I'm like, breathing underwater is impossible. Unassisted. No one knew how to fly. No one thought flying was possible until somebody did it. Nobody thought we could get to the moon until we did. And so, like, everything that people think is impossible right now, maybe impossible right now, maybe improbable. Maybe we don't have the technology. Maybe we don't have an understanding. Maybe we are missing something. And to Winterstorm's point, maybe we don't have the exposure to something yet that we actually need in order to do whatever we think is impossible. So nobody thought we could breathe underwater until somebody figured out you could take air down with you. And then and then the game starts. Well, I can make a better diving bell than you can. And then I can make a scuba tank. Oh, okay. Well, now I can make a rebreather. Now I can make it smaller. Now I can make it more efficient. Now I can, and the game starts once somebody says,
yeah. So what you just described is an external force, competitive nature that develops adaptation. And then there's the other aspect, which is now it's just you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
There's no external forces. There's just you standing on the start line and no one's around you. And let's call it selection. And it's all on you. And no one's going to poke you and prod you. Maybe they will a bit. But, you got to own it. You got to own your own path. You got to own your own awesomeness. And if you're not getting that external, well, you got to develop it internally. And let's pretend that you're standing on the start line called develop scuba diving. You might not be the right guy to do it if you don't have an internal competitive nature against yourself. If you're not a relentless pursuer of making things better, guess what? We'd all be in the water right now, pulling massive conch shells over our head and hoping there's enough air in them for you to stay down there for 2 minutes, right? And so the right guy at the right time in the right place will create right actions. But the wrong person will not. And so then to flip that coin, the person who can't do it internally might be the right person in another time and in another place with another task, because though they work externally competitive, they get to produce the result that the person who's internally driven, in absence of any external variables or push or manipulation, that person is the wrong person at that time in that place. And so now we take a hybridized model. Maybe they're an internal and an external competitive nature. Well, I think that's the best combination, but that doesn't mean that they're the right person at the right time at the right place in every instance, because sometimes that hybridization isn't pure enough on either aspect of internal versus external. All I'm saying is you kind of got to know yourself. You got to know how you best put out results. And if you've never thought about internal versus external versus hybridized competitive models as your nature, maybe take a minute or two today to think about that.
There's a quote that I'm gonna spit out here that has been used many times from a maybe semi-famous kind of
swordsman
guy. Nah, he's more of a strategist, and
okay.
Comes from China. Named Sun Tzu. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him.
Who's that dude? What does he even know?
He wrote something
Never heard of him.
that said, know the enemy and maybe win one battle. Know yourself and win 1,000, right? Like it's all in here.
It's all in here.
It's all in here. I got a last comment here from Winterstorm. You never know if you're going to be a good parent until you have kids. Everything prior to that is just conjecture and speculation. Actually, you and I were talking about this too. I had made a offhand comment saying, I think I might have been able to get through special force selection. You were like, but you didn't. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I never went. So how can I know? Right. It's all conjecture and speculation up until the point that I step off or even apply. So absolutely. But that all comes back to this guy right in
it's
here.
All on us.
It's all on us.
I see the time, and I can't believe an hour's already gone by. Right? I just want to touch on this because the conversation started off with how David Goggins is kind of a guy out there who kind of represents a certain lifestyle, and how you should hard charge and blah blah blah, and he's influential and etc. And yeah, he is. But you know what? I'm facing it a tiny bit myself from a moronic little hater, and it's that classic anti-hero attitude. So David Goggins is out there doing his thing, and there's a whole pile of mostly young men who are definitely into it and definitely followed that sort of kind of approach to life. But then there's some folks out there who are anti-heroes, where it doesn't matter what good David Goggins does. David Goggins is the devil, because he's out there doing it big.
Yeah.
And so for all of the anti-hero pursuers who hate on people who are trying to do their best for humanity in their own way, shake your head. If you're an anti-hero, you suck. And there's an easy way to solve that. Shake your head hard enough and fast enough so it shakes the dumbness out of your head, and then get on with doing better. If you hate on Jocko Willink, or you hate on David Goggins, or you hate on me, or you hate on Chance, or you hate on Glenn, or you hate on anyone who's just trying to do it better, you literally need to stop doing what you're doing and thinking about why you're hating on people who are trying to do it better. It's usually because you're trying to do it worse. So just shake your head.
Or you're not doing anything. That's the other side of it too, right? Like it's that age-old thing of the I don't want others to achieve because then I look bad.
For sure.
And that's a tough position of seeing.
Anti-heroism is a extremely corrosive mindset, and I don't want it to become institutionalized by me not standing up and saying that's literally the worst way to live life.
It really is. It's a pretty crummy state of being, because I've been there. I've sat there and I've looked at people that were doing it right, and I've gone, oh, what, man, seriously? I've been there. It's not a great. It's a very toxic.
It is toxic
place to be there,
and I'll never give a hallway pass to it.
Exactly, and you shouldn't. And that's
no
part of what. That's what we do, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're having these conversations. That's why we're bringing it up. That's why we're talking about it. And here's a good man. Winterstorm 427. Comfort hates challenge. That sums it up. Any final thoughts there, Glenn? Anything we've gone over? We've gone over quite a bit, but anything that burning on the top of your head that you want to?
Yeah, man. The first thing that comes to mind is thanks again for having me on, fellas. It's a privilege and an honor to get a chance to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
And man, I dig Shaun's new hashtag. Earn it till you make it.
Earn it till you make it. Okay.
I like it.
Or Chance is just earn it.
Earn it.
Yeah.
I think that one's out there already, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Shaun, any final thoughts? Anything you want to round us off with?
No, just thanks, Glenn, for joining us. Of course, there's never been a time when I haven't enjoyed hanging out with you, either in DMs or in comments or on these live chats, any video chats that you and I have done, private video chats over the last while. It's always great to hang out with you, bro. So don't feel like it's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to have you here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And like I've said a couple of times, you have an open seat. If you find yourself at like somewhere around 11, you're like, hey, I wonder what the boys are doing. This is where we're going to be. Yeah, shoot me a message. We'll jump you on. Doesn't matter
Unless it interferes with your burpees, always do your burpees first.
Yeah, always do your burpees first. If you can do get your burpees done first, absolutely get those sorted. Yeah, thanks all for everyone for watching. Thanks for joining us there, Glenn, Shaun. Always glad to have you on here. I know I've been a little circumspect with the respect lately. But I gotta push your buttons every once in a while. What can I say?
I love it.
And yeah, to all of the people out there watching, we'll see y'all tomorrow while we learn, build, and grow here on the collective. Chimo, y'all.
Chimo.